He's angry about mortgages. It's Angry Mortgage. He's swearing. He's cursing loud. He's old. He's opinionated. And he's been doing this so damn long. This program is about mortgages, and this is mortgage advice, but the advice may not apply to your situation. Contact licensed mortgage professionals for specific recommendations before you make decisions about mortgages. You may not agree with Ron, but if you don't, he thinks you're wrong. Oh, and did we say there is a lot of swearing?
We are back. The Angry Mortgage Podcast is on the air, angrier than ever.
I hope so.
We're just Sasha's Fabri's back. We were just discussing off air. We have to increase the amount of yelling in the office.
We've been really nice to each other for a couple of days. It's weird.
Fuck it. Like, we gotta start yelling.
I want more screaming.
Get more deals! Get more mortgages! We got to up the screaming. By the way, before we get into and there's a lot to cover today. Tons. There's lots going on in the mortgage world. But before we go to it, see the Fiji Water? Okay, here's Fiji Water. All right. There's no fucking product placement money coming for Fiji. Okay?
There isn't? I thought that's what the whole bit was.
Fuck all nothing. Okay,
let's get on it.
It's just the best water. By the way, it's the worst water for every other reason, but it tastes great. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Would you agree? Yes, I'm not bullshitting. It's a good tasting water, right?
Oh yeah.
So this is the worst water in the world
because it comes from
super
far away.
This does come from Fiji.
Yeah.
It's basically all of the Fijians who work at the water plant are like slave labor. Okay.
Good.
They are also lowering the aquifer of Fiji. Like eventually, unless they get a lot of rain, eventually there'll be no fucking water in Fiji and everybody will have to go. Okay. The people who own this are the same motherfuckers who own Black Diamond Almonds.
Okay.
Who make almond milk, right?
Yeah.
Now, almond milk is literally the other worst thing on earth.
We're on this again. All right.
If you make milk out of an almond,
yeah,
you've used about 3 gallons of water to make one fucking almond.
Yeah.
And then you grind it into dust and throw some water in it and give it to people.
Oh, yeah.
Give it to woke fuckwits. Okay. A lot of woke. Remember this term. I'm going to keep using this term. Okay. Some days I like Elon. I'll be honest with you. A lot of woke fuckwits. I don't like Trump. Everybody who says I'm Maple MAGA, I wish you to please fuck yourselves. Like find some way to just, I don't care how you do it, like digitally or get tools to do it, but fuck yourselves. Okay?
There's the wrong we know.
I am not Maple MAGA. I do not have any appreciation for Trump at all. He's a big orange crazy person. Okay, that's all you can say. There's nothing else to say. I mean, like who lives like that? Like really? I mean, like for another thing, I got to ask for is how the fuck can you be the president of the United States and spend 100% of your time in a press conference?
Okay? And the rest at a fucking golf course.
I know he does work. Like Trump doesn't sleep much. He only sleeps about 5 hours a night. Gets up early. Stays up late.
All the drugs. Yeah.
No, he doesn't take any drugs. He's just the way he is. Okay. He hasn't had a drink in his entire life. It's weird, right?
I didn't know that. Okay.
You should never trust anybody who won't take a drink. That's my belief.
Okay.
Don't ever trust anybody. If you're some kind of teetotaler, you don't drink at all, what the fuck are you afraid of saying? Like you're afraid to get 6 drinks into you and say, I'm sorry I murdered those people. I mean, like, is that what you're really thinking about? Like, seriously, what are you hiding if you never take a drink? Okay.
Yeah, from yourself.
Trump, although Trump is like me, he's not as fat, but he actually is fat. He has these suits designed to cover up being fat. Okay?
Yeah.
I think he would, do you really think that woman sleeps with him? I don't think so. I think she lives in New York. Okay?
I think he pays her to not leave. I think.
But I think she's in New York most of the time.
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah.
It's not like he's never had a girlfriend in this day, but anyway. Fiji Water. So the worst people in the world, destroying Fiji, slave labor in Fiji, making the Fijians are slaves, basically working for like Fijian minimum wage, like $1 an hour or some fucking thing, making the Fiji Water. It's shipped by boat. Can you imagine the energy involved in shipping water? It's water you're shipping by boat from fucking Fiji to America and Canada. And then, and like I said, the other awful thing about these people is they're the same family who owns Black Diamond. And they literally are murdering the world environmentally, these motherfuckers, and they're billionaires.
So we're trying to switch away from this.
They're old billionaires. Okay, so no, I don't want to switch away. I want to switch away.
Okay.
But, big but, someone has to pay me for product placement. Okay, so I put it out there. If anybody works at a water company anywhere except Dasani, it's shit. Okay, I hate fucking Dasani. It's like drinking sewer water. Okay, I don't want Dasani. And by the way, you can't fucking lawsuit me for hating Dasani. I'm allowed to hate Dasani. I mean, it probably is not sewer water, but it may taste like sewer water, okay? Look, anybody out there, anybody in the audience, you want a water company, and we work cheap here. Like, we work really cheap.
I'm not that cheap.
But you're not getting any of it. Butler Mortgage gets the money, okay?
That's
like,
true, that's true.
yeah, I get everything, okay? So, yeah, so if you want product placement, you got some water, not Dasani, fuck you Dasani, and we'll switch Fiji. But meantime, Fiji tastes pretty good.
All right, there you go.
All right, so that's. Oh, and by the way, future show, we have guests lined up, very very interesting guests lined up in the future for future shows. Not that Sasha's great; he's great, he's great.
I like being voluntold to come.
But we got guests. We got some good guests coming up. I think everybody's going to be very interested. Okay. Big news this week. Last week, we had the rate cut.
Yes.
Prime goes down a quarter. Mm-hmm. We covered it in other kinds of social media.
Yep.
It's a variable rate now. Like CMHC is about what, 3.85 variable?
Yeah. I mean, it depends on the
CMHC.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
high ratio mortgage.
Yes,
it's like
yes,
385.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
No, not very, but only about 8% of the mortgages in Canada are high ratio purchase. So anyway. No, that purchase even less. But anyway, small numbers, but it's available. What's it really for conventional? Like 4.15, 4.2?
Again, it's going to depend on the kind of lender you go to. It's going to depend on the mortgage size. It's going to depend if it's a purchase, refinance, whatever. Yeah, anything from...
Not a rental.
Not a rental. No, rentals, God help you.
Rentals, well, no, believe me, there are some banks that are giving favorable rates to rentals. But
I mean, look, the best rate that we can get, I think, right now is, through insured, maybe 3.79. Conventional,
that's fixed now. You've switched to fixed.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
On,
everything else is, high threes to mid-low fours. You're right. Yeah.
But the interesting thing is, to me, is not the 0.25% rate cut.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody who seriously wants to spend their time studying the fucking babble that came dribbling out of Tiff Macklin's mouth, you are welcome, but I'm not going to do that stupidity. I'm not studying that shit.
Ron, what's going to happen, Ron?
Ron! I mean, it's really simple. Rates come down.
Yes.
That's it. I mean, look, the Canadian economy really, really was in trouble before Trump showed up, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Before he showed up, all right? So it just makes it worse.
Mm-hmm.
So Mr. Macklin jumping in and saying, hey, I'm a bit worried. I think the economy this may be a severe problem for the economy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no shit, Sherlock.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck me. I mean, it's a problem. It's a big fucking problem. Like, look, here's why it's a problem. It's not even the tariffs themselves, which are terrible, but it's the inability for business to plan investment now. Like, how do you fucking plan?
It's chaos. What do you do? Like,
what the fuck?
It's not even just whether, even with the tariffs, it's the not knowing. There's people, even just for, a couple of days worth of tariffs, they face hundreds of thousands of dollars of fees. And then you have to do the administrative work of figuring out how to navigate it, which can often involve lawyers. And then it changes. Exactly. Yeah. And there's so much bullshit going on with everything right now.
Which means that a business is just going to put everything on pause.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, there's nobody who's going to say, you know what, this is a great time to expand.
Mm-hmm. Or they're trying to expand, just not.
Who's
to the
trying
US.
To expand?
Anyone who is saying, look, we need to insulate against these tariffs is trying to expand provincially, expand into markets like China and into other EU countries that we have partnerships with.
Well, I'm going to give a little insight.
It takes time.
I'm going to give a little insight into partnering with EU, partnering with the European Union.
Mm-hmm.
The European Union, those fuckers are harder to trade with than anybody.
Super regulated.
Super fucking regulated.
Yeah.
Super fucked up.
Yeah.
Like they don't even have to bother with tariffs in Europe because the fucking rules they have about products are so fucking weird that nobody can do it anyway.
Yeah.
So
and then do it in French.
this is the pipe fucking dream of doing massive trades with Europe is idiotic. There's not going to be massive trading with Europe. Yeah, and what are we going to trade? The only reason that our aluminum was competitive, we have a good reason why the aluminum is competitive, is because we have very low cost hydroelectricity in Quebec.
Yep.
Was built 55, 65 years ago. The smelters are old but efficient.
Yep.
And electricity is what creates aluminum.
Yeah.
So that's just, folks, sometimes some metals it's heat. Like you have to, with steel, it's mainly some kind of heat is how you get from the iron ore to steel.
Yeah.
But with aluminum, it's electrical.
Yes.
It's all electricity. So if you have the cheapest electricity, you win. That's it.
There you go.
However, with 25% tariffs, you can start to grow your smelters in the United States because that counteracts the cheap electricity.
It's not going to happen immediately, though, right? And that's the other thing that's.
By the way, let me just talk to that a minute. Yes, it's not going to happen immediately, but I want to start to separate out the fuckwits who think some things are slow and some things are fast. So, yes, it's hard to transplant a whole assembly plant. Yes, that is hard. That is hard. An auto assembly plant, like the Toyota plant, like the Honda plant, that is time-consuming, couple of years, difficult.
Yeah.
Parts, which is a huge thing we do in Canada, is auto parts. If it's a small part, you can move in 10 weeks.
Interesting.
You can. Because I watched it. My wife used to work in that business, an auto parts business.
Okay.
At the executive of a unknown auto parts, but large auto parts company. It's private, so it's quiet. One day they just decided they had to move a small parts line to Mexico, and they just packed it up over 2 weeks, shipped it, reassembled it in a warehouse in Mexico, and it got going again.
Interesting.
Yeah, small parts, like parts that are like no bigger than your arm, something like that.
But yeah, no, obviously there's a lot of uncertainty, which is causing a lot of fear and anxiety for people about their jobs, which is causing a lot of fear and anxiety about people for their houses and their mortgages, right? So,
yeah, and that means if you're worried, you put off spending. You put off all kinds of spending. You put off everything. So that means that those people who you might normally have bought from something big like a car to something small like jewelry, you just stop. Like jewelers are just sitting around their stores rubbing themselves out. I mean, seriously, they have nothing to do. There's no customers, okay? Except bandits. There occasionally are bandits coming in with hammers, okay? That's all we got with jewelry stores in Toronto. All right, so we will see more cuts.
Yes.
We've got an April the 16th meeting, and we've got a June the 4th announcement date. And we'll see between the two of them, we'll see another 75 basis points of cuts.
Very likely. Yeah.
So we're going to end up, and everybody will say, well, tell me exactly how it works, Ron. Which date will be what? And my reaction to that is, fuck yourself. Okay. Like, I mean, I'll tell you there's 75 by the end of June, by June sometime. Just leave it alone. Yeah. Don't like, parse. Well, do you really know, Ron, if you can't tell me exactly? Yeah, fuck yourself. Okay, like that doesn't make sense. I'm telling you what's going to happen. Use the information as you wish.
Yeah.
So we're going to end up with a variable rate for high ratio CMHC insured mortgages. It's going to be somewhere around 3.10, 3.1, which is a good rate. Yeah. Obviously, compared with what it was 2 years ago.
Oh yeah,
Jesus, good, better. And a conventional rate around 3.4. But again, that's a small percentage. So the conventional will be higher, but it will all be all variable will eventually be under 4%.
Yeah.
Every single variable rate.
Yeah. Well, it's really interesting. We're getting a lot of people who are coming to us, obviously asking about fixed versus variable. But we have a lot of people who are actually coming to us 3-4 months in advance saying, what should I do? Which is a really interesting conversation because we can lock in a rate for 120 days, obviously, right? With most of the big lenders. Some of them it's 60, some of them it's 90, but 120 days generally. And the going conversation is, look, if you want a fixed rate, those change every week. Like, sure, we can lock something in for you now, but it changes all the time. Up or down, based off of the bond yields, because of what's going on with the tariffs. It changes so much.
Yes.
But variable rate is interesting. So it's the variable rate, you're getting the discount off of prime, and chances are, and we've talked about this before, it's not likely. The discounts are not likely to get better as the Bank of Canada cuts.
Oh, although if you work from history,
Yeah.
once it's established that the country's in recession, the discounts start to expand.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
because once you have a certain knowledge that the economy is going to stay shit for long, like COVID, right? Discounts were big in COVID. Discounts were like 1.25. Okay.
You think even if they're going to cut very well up to 75 basis points, you think that the discounts off of prime could get better in the next 6 months?
There's no relationship between the discount level and the rate until there becomes certainty of where things will be and a complete understanding, because what has to happen is swap rates have to come down and hedging has to become easier.
Yeah.
And at that point, you could say, okay, we can give bigger discounts.
Yeah, we're getting into the minutia of the.
Yeah, we're people are falling asleep.
But generally
the people on the podcast are just shutting the podcast off now. But that's for sure.
Yeah. But no. So what I'm telling people is, look, we can lock in a rate for you. We'll monitor it between now and 4 months from now. If it gets better, obviously we'll lock in something better for you when it becomes available. If not, you're not going to get worse.
But the beauty of taking variable,
yes,
is even just assuming the discounts don't change. Even just assume it's prime less 0.9, prime less 1%, whatever it is. If you know the rate's coming down, you will pay less.
Of course.
When you get there. When you get there to the point where your renewal happens, you will pay less. So ultimately, and you're seeing a lot more variable than a year ago.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Huge amounts.
Big up. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I'll come back to something we talked about the other week.
Yeah.
I don't believe, and you tell me what you think. I don't believe we're going to see a real surge in variable where it becomes the majority of mortgages until there's separation to fixed. Because if we're 385 variable today on high ratio, but 5-year fixed is 379, that's a toss up then, right? You're depending on the discount.
So what I tell my clients, or what I ask them, I don't tell my clients anything. I just operate in questions most of the time. What I ask my clients is, what is your personality type? And also, what is your economic situation, right? Are you the type of person who's comfortable with a little bit of risk, or are you a set it and forget it kind of person? And then the majority of the decision should also be, what's your economic outlook looking like, especially in uncertainty, right?
Exactly.
So do you have a recession-proof job? If you lose income for a little while and your interest rates do go up, which they will eventually, right? They'll go back up eventually. Are you comfortable in that situation? And so it's very situational. But the question is, are you comfortable with a mid-high 3, or do you want lower for a bit?
If you're a doctor or a cop, or
teacher,
or like if you say, well, look, it doesn't matter how many industries close, I'm still going to be around.
Yeah.
If that person can say, well, I don't have to worry about my income, so I can maybe take variable, because theoretically, its base case is better today. Because also remember, folks, when we talk about variable and you take, you get to the point where you've got a 3.1 rate, you can lock in later.
Yes.
You can lock in. You have a lot of flexibility. It's a smaller penalty. And by the way, at 3.1, it's even a much smaller penalty.
Yes, the penalty goes down. But you have to be the personality type. You have to be comfortable watching it.
If you can't stand the idea that something's going to go wrong, we always have to say the same thing. Something can go wrong.
Yes.
I mean, but inflation will come after the economic consequences. They won't come now.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, some things will go up in price, but or bourbon will disappear altogether.
Yeah.
You won't be able to get bourbon. It'll be gone.
We'll make it in Canada.
Okay,
we got our rye.
I think our rye producers are pretty say no. Fuck your bourbon. It's just rye.
We got the rye.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's definitely a strategy, and to keep that in mind, folks. I mean, people say, well, how do you know? How do you know this variable is going to come down? Well, let me just make it simple. I've been right for a year. Let's make it easy. Okay. It's nice. We're trying to get that into some of the comments. Some of the comments on the YouTube channel, we're getting like, yeah, fuck, he's right again. Look, but you could also call me a fat fuck if you want, and many do.
You can do both.
Many do. Nobody does the same at once. And I still get that endless comment from the 73-year-old woman always says, well, when I bought a house, I really had to stress myself back in 1981.
Yeah.
And it was really hard to save that down payment. And I went through it. It was interest rates, and sometimes it got to like 18%. And I have to keep telling 73-year-old woman, you bought your house for 79 grand.
Yeah, 18% on 79 grand
Yeah,
is nothing.
like, and it was only 2 times your income.
Yeah, what's 6% of $1.5 million?
It was 2 times your income.
Yeah.
Okay, like, actually, I had a great talk with a guy the other day at a conference, and he pointed out that his father, who worked at a company that's like the Antichrist, which is called Imperial Tobacco. Okay?
Ah, yes.
And Imperial Tobacco was at one point before everything had to go, we had to suppress smoking in Canada and pretend it's just the soul of evil. Well, I guess it is the soul of evil, but still, people smoke.
People choose their vices.
People pick, like, am I going to stop eating? Like, fuck me. But he made the point that his dad, in 1986, as the head engineer of Imperial Tobacco, made 150 grand a year.
Yeah. The difference today is crazy.
Because there was some big job, if you had a big, serious job back then, you were making some money.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Like that's a very important job because they're making like 1 billion cigarettes every 2 days. So if that thing stops working, that head engineer becomes very, very, very important.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So he's a well-paid dude to make sure that thing keeps going. All right. So that's the big deal that we have to understand. For young people today, it's 10 times income.
It's very hard.
It's very, very hard. So and everything else is more expensive. I think car insurance was like $10 a month back in 1980. I mean, like seriously. Like,
well, I mean, it's really interesting too because you start to see that effect in the purchase prices of houses, right? So you can start to see where people have a little bit more money or a little bit less money because based on the province, the purchase price of houses is actually, obviously Alberta is what it is. It's $250 for anyone. But like BC and Ontario.
No, we think we're doing one house in Edmonton. It's like $400. So I gotta see that appraisal, see if it's the Taj Mahal on it.
You could buy my backyard shed for $400 in Ontario.
It's fucking nuts. Yeah.
But yeah, in BC, you're still seeing people buying, up to the $1.5 million mark, taking advantage of, the
so
new rules.
here in BC, so what you're telling me is that since these new CMHC changes that allow, it was frozen at $1 million for years. Yeah. Recently in the fall went up to 1.5.
Yeah.
And now you're starting to see people are putting 10% down on those people are putting big numbers.
People are putting, the bare minimum they can. In BC, up to like 1.4999. I've seen a couple times.
Really?
Yeah. Ontario, people are sticking sort of to the outskirts of Toronto, and it's kind of above $1 million for sure. But
1.1, 1.2 kind of thing.
1.3 max, if you're kind of really close to the GTA. But it's interesting to see that there's still that price difference, BC to Ontario, and these are first time homebuyers a lot of the time. Right?
So they would be.
People are taking advantage of CMHC, which is good.
So that is kind of, and by the way, the guys who run the insurance programs, even though insured purchase volume is way down, like these high ratio purchase volume compared with 10 years ago is down dramatically because of the price of houses.
Yes.
Okay? But this sort of gives them a little bump of success. And these companies, let me tell you, I'm fortunate to know, actually know some of the people who run these companies. These are very, very successful companies. They're well run. They're well capitalized. Every time somebody says, "Yeah, I think there's going to have to be a big bailout. There's going to be a bailout of CMHC. Government bailout. Taxpayers are going to have to pay." Never happened for 90 years. Okay, so what was it? 75 years. So come on, folks. I mean, no. It'll happen. Okay, well, maybe, but not likely. Because CMHC's actually given back to the taxpayers of Canada
hugely
about $11 billion over the years. Okay, just maybe surpluses. They make money, right? So Crown Corporation comes back to us. All right, so but you touched on the housing market. So there are now, the reality is that house sales are down in Ontario. Plummeting. But we're getting a bunch of them because we have low rates.
We do.
So, and you're seeing some purchases coming in.
Yeah.
One of the things, so let's just analyze it. So Ontario, bad. Listings through the fucking roof.
Oh my God.
People are trying to get rid of houses and nobody's buying them.
Yeah.
But the real motivating factor is everybody who bought a rental, not everybody, but people who bought a rental in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Are really thinking hard about getting rid of the rental.
Yeah, they are. Best case scenario, I have people who are very, very proud that they are not losing money and they're just making exactly what it costs.
Whoa, stop. So you're saying when you talk to a guy who owns a rental property, particularly bought recently, his point of pride is just breaking even.
Just breaking even.
But I'm not losing money.
Exactly.
Okay?
Because there's so many. There's so many people that you're talking to saying, I'm losing money. The rental market is down. My expenses are up. My condo fees are up. My property taxes. Oh my God, property taxes are up, right? Everything is up. And so it's tough. It's very, very tough for people who are in the rental market.
So at a certain point, people say, I got to sell.
Yeah, they do.
Because I'm losing $800 a month, $900 a month.
And the worst category, we've talked about this, you've talked it to death, and it's just...
But we're going to keep talking about it, though.
It's going to keep getting worse. Yeah. It's getting worse every month. Every month you have more and more people calling, I bought a pre-construction, I just had it, I had a pre-approval, everything was good. All of a sudden the appraisal came back 100, 150 grand less. I don't know what to do. Can you please give me 100% financing?
Whoa, whoa. Okay. No, because, and I want you to think about that for a second. So that's 100% financing because the values dropped so much, it's eaten up their whole deposit.
Yeah. So first they have to cover the difference of 150 grand. Then they have to come up with a 20% down payment after.
No, but they had those as deposits. That was a deposit on the property.
But most people.
But yeah, you're right. But in theory, if your value's down 20%. And you put in 20%, you need 100% financing of what it's actually worth. Yeah. Because you lost money from day one.
And, for some people, it's heartbreaking. Obviously, we don't care about the person who bought, an entire floor and they're screwed.
Yeah, the guy who bought 10 units can,
whatever. But the person who, was like, oh, I'm trying to, buy for my kid or whatever. My kid was going to university. I wanted to buy pre-construction for them in the city or blah, 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 whatever. You feel for some of those people for sure. But that's very, very difficult. The other interesting thing is that builders, and you talked about this yesterday, I think, on your LinkedIn, and we were talking about it before that too. Builders are scrutinizing approvals like crazy now.
Jesus. Yeah.
So you have these builders who, a lot of the case, I think what's happened is they've already had people walk away. So they had people walk away from the pre-construction.
Having tons of people walk away.
Yeah. And it's just, you're having to sue them, whatever. That's part of it. But when you have people coming and they say, great, I just bought a brand new house. You're like, okay, so it wasn't pre-build. The fact that you are buying it means that somebody else couldn't close or they're walking away or they're taking a loss already. If you're buying directly from the builder, it means somebody else has already walked away and they're going to sue them. And the builder's asking me for the mortgage commitment. They want to, and then they're reaching out to us as the mortgage agent or the realtor as the person, prove to me where the down payment is coming from. Show me this contract. Make sure it's real. Because they've been burned and they're desperate.
Yeah. So what we've seen from big builders, the big developers in Toronto is because your point is well taken.
Yeah.
If people walk away from a purchase, the developer wants to resell it.
They have to.
So let's take it a step further. Most developers, not all, but most developers, when they build a condo building, when they sell it, they only sell about 80% of the units. Mm-hmm. They keep 20% of the units because even the developer thought they'd go to the moon. Okay? Yeah, we always hold on to 20% and sell it later because that's how we make real fucking profit is off those units because, we're selling them for 1,400 square foot, and that when it comes time, it'll be 1,800 square foot. And of course, now it's only worth 1,200 square foot. They're ultra fucked. Yeah. But at the end of the day, they almost the majority of developers held on to units to sell when the building was complete.
Yeah.
And now it's like a total fuckathon. Mm-hmm. And they really need, so when somebody says, yeah, I'll buy one, borrower comes to us and they want to get a mortgage. It's okay. Okay, so you're buying it at a great discount because the builders discounted the shit out of it to get rid of it.
Yeah.
But they want to know that there's really a mortgage because if there isn't,
they
want to sell it to somebody else for cash.
Well, and they're stepping into the privacy area where you can't really ask those questions. You can't really expect.
A lender can.
Yes,
a lender can. But you're right. The builder is overstepping and saying, "Okay, so show us their income." No, no. We can't show third parties the income.
Or worst case, some of them have started calling the lenders directly, be like, "Are you real? Is this a real commitment? Tell me about these people." And you're like, "Fuck off!"
So what
are you supposed to say?
As you said, you can't completely blame them. For wanting to make sure it's a solid sale.
Yeah.
But by the same token, don't violate privacy.
No.
Don't do silly shit that violates privacy because, I'll tell you one group of people who can give two shits about privacy are builders. Mm-hmm. Okay. They do not care.
Yeah.
I just want to close. Okay.
The other one, I loved this. I had a builder who, it was a TD mortgage commitment, full commitment, not a pre-approval.
TD Bank, some TD logo Bank. On it, the whole 9 yards.
The second largest bank in Canada.
Yeah.
And they said, it's not clear enough what the purchase price and the mortgage amount is going to be. Can you get them to change their template? Like, yeah, I'm going to get TD Bank to change their template mortgage commitment.
Yeah, make the fonts bigger. Yeah. Make the fonts bigger at TD Bank. I'm
going to do that for you, small town builder, for sure.
We're going to call up Raymond Chun, the CEO of TD, and say, hey, Raymond, do me a solid. Great, do me a solid. Increase the font so old fuck builder in North Oshawa can actually read your commitment.
It's like, no, fuck no.
No, fuck no. No, for sure. So and you actually brought me a great point.
Yeah.
About some of the weirdness, because we know sales are way down.
Yeah.
We know that purchase business is realistic. I read a stat just, I think, 2 days ago.
Yeah.
That in Ontario, 74.6% of all real estate agents sold no house in 2024.
They're starving. And they're doing, so the listings are through the roof, obviously.
Yeah.
And I'm noticing this crazy phenomenon, and I don't understand it because it just doesn't make sense to me, where realtors, specifically buyers realtors, are encouraging their clients to go in unconditional. No financing conditions.
This is really, really good. Okay?
Yeah.
We're saying that, in the old days, when there was 38 bids, you go back to 2021, 38 bids, the realtor would just tell you, if you have conditions, financing, inspection, anything, whatever, the only offer you can make is an unconditional offer because 38 people are bidding on this property.
Yeah, of course.
So now, fuck all, nobody's bidding on this property, okay? But still, the realtor is saying, no conditions.
Because they're starving. Specifically, buyers realtors have always had it harder than sellers realtors, but there's no sales. There's a massive amount of listings. Sales are down. And if you're going to do one deal a year, if that, right, you're going to do everything in your power to make sure that it closes because you have to. And you might advise people to do things that just don't make sense to the people in the back end like us.
Yeah, because it doesn't make any sense. Because if you know that there's maybe one other bidder at best and probably no other bidder, why wouldn't you add conditions? Why wouldn't you say, I want an inspection done by a professional inspector? I want to make sure the house is in great shape. I want a financing condition in case something weird turns up in the house.
You never know what a builder or you never know what a bank finds in a house that they don't like. And there's completely unforeseeable.
Now, it's rare. Let's face it, it's rare. We do a good enough job of underwriting and pre-approval that if Butler Mortgage gives you a pre-approval, you've got a real pre-approval. But we didn't pre-approve the house.
Yeah.
Okay. So if there's something wild about the house, like, this was a great amendment we got back. So there's a reduction of price. We got back an amendment, reduction of price, and it said right in the amendment, reduction of price, $12,000 to remediate obvious black mold throughout the. Wow! No, fuck no. There's no. You got to get rid of the mold first.
Correct.
Okay. There's no bank going to say, oh, black mold, so our borrowers can die. They'll get sick and die in that house. Okay.
Yeah. You got to realize if. There's nothing wrong with knowing it's there first and bidding appropriately the first time, for example.
Or bidding and saying, okay, you've got 30 days to get rid of it.
Yeah. But the second you ask for a price reduction that is official, the very first thing the bank's going to say is, show me the fucking inspection.
What happened? What happened to cause this reduction?
Why? Something is wrong with the house. What is it, right? And the only time I saw that it wasn't an issue was recently where I had a realtor who was the client's father, and he sacrificed his commission.
Oh, so that was what it dropped.
Yeah, and so okay, fair enough. Bank didn't give a shit about that.
Okay, but let's finalize on this subject by saying this. Folks, if you're working with a realtor and you're buying a home in Ontario, now, okay, maybe if you're buying a home in Rosedale or on the Bridle Path, in the most ultra-exclusive districts in town, where everybody's a millionaire and they're fussy, if you want to waive your conditions, if you want to waive all conditions on buying that house, but if you're not buying a $6 million house, you need conditions.
Yeah.
Okay. Why the fuck in a market that's way down with a jillion listings, and don't listen to the desperate realtor who just wants to say, yeah, I think the only way to be successful is to have a no condition offer. Wait a second. I mean, who's the other bidder? Oh, there could be one. Like, fuck off. I mean, no, the seller will not accept any condition. Well, then let's go look at the next one.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, fuck this. Okay. That's stupid. So, folks, in this marketplace today, I know there's 10,000 realtors losing their minds. There's going to be like comments like, "You're a fucking idiot, Butler.
My client needs to sell immediately."
Yeah.
Why?
Okay, dudes. Okay, listen. And there's a lot of good realtors too. Sometimes we're hard on realtors. I apologize to all the good ones. Because we do get a ton of inspections done. There are tons of inspections being done right now.
Yeah.
When there never was before. Okay, there's house inspections being done today, where 3 years ago, nada.
And they're just designed to protect people. Inspections are to protect you.
That's what they're there for. So, but if your realtor says, no, we never want any conditions. Yeah, no, I need a new realtor. It's just the truth, okay? All right, so what we know is the overall real estate market is down.
Yeah.
New construction in Ontario for buildings for homes to buy, new starts for homes to buy, is basically gone to zero. Because, when you see that condo in the air, when you see cranes, okay, that's not a new, that was a new start when the cranes got in. That's not a new start today, okay?
It's been 5 years in the works.
Particularly if the crane's at the top. If the crane's up on the 50th story, it's almost done. That's not categorized as a new start. New start is categorized as shovels in the ground on something that was untouched before.
Yeah.
We have none of that in Ontario, like none. Guy told me the other day, I got a comment from a podcast listener the other day. "Hey, Ron, I bought in a new place for the middle." I'm sure it's an excellent place for a good listener, but I think it was like in the middle of nowhere, like Elmira. And for everybody in Elmira, we love you. We love you. We love you, Elmira. But even it's the middle of nowhere. So new subdivision in Elmira, 55 houses in the subdivision.
Okay. So it's like half their population.
He bought his house. He bought his pre-construction house. They only ended up selling 6.
Wow.
They may never build that fucking thing. Okay. There may never be. It may take years. Okay.
People don't realize as well.
Because 6 out of 55 doesn't work for a builder.
Well, and this is a problem, right? Builders rely on pre-sales to help fund the build.
That's how the financing works.
And if we are in a world today where nobody, and I mean nobody, is confident that they can invest into a pre-build to be able to either at least break even and have a house, right? The builds aren't going to happen.
Sure. Now, the interesting thing when you think about it is that Elmira they're all single-family homes, 55 single-family homes, all over $1 million. So my point is, hey, Mr. Builder, if they were all under 9, I think you'd sell a shit ton of them. Okay? I think they'd all get sold. Okay, but there's people pay too much for the land. The fucking municipality wants too much money. The planning process and the 24 reports cost millions of dollars. So it all gets passed on to the buyers.
Yeah. Well, here's an interesting thing too. And this is, I'm going to get people yelling at me for this one probably. This is where the dynamic between investors and first-time home buyers becomes so clearly integrated, because how many first-time home buyers are going to agree to buy pre-construction and wait 3-4 years? Because they have a house they want to live in. They want to live in a house, right? So it's mostly investors who are helping to fund the development in exchange for a return on investment, which means
they're condos.
Yeah.
So because although you and I also know that when you look at some townhouse developments,
townhouses are good. Yeah.
We used to see there's a lot of investors in there.
Of course,
like a ton, and they've all vanished now.
Yeah.
Look, at the end of the day, people ask me to run calculations on, okay, if I bought this and this is the rent I think I can get, what's it look like? And it's always like, well, the best case scenario is
you're not losing money.
You are losing money. Like you had to buy like a year and a half, 2 years ago to not, you had to buy a long time ago.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
that's what we're talking about.
We're talking about buying new
today.
It doesn't make sense. It's gone. It's dead. That whole thing is dead. Okay, there is no investor buying anything to rent in Ontario today. I mean, that's just, that whole marketplace is gone. And unfortunately, because of the dynamics, and we've done it in many other shows before, talk about why costs of houses have run crazy, nuts, then the truth is that land costs went up, municipal development fees went up, and the starter home's like over $1 million, and that doesn't work for
most people.
All the working people in Ontario. People, There's a guy in Australia that I talked to on social media because he does exactly the same kind of work as I do in Australia and talking about these problems.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, until the day comes in Australia when a forklift operator
Mm-hmm.
and a personal care worker
Mm-hmm.
can buy their own single-family house,
Mm-hmm.
the market's fucked.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
because that used to be the backbone of
course.
purchases.
Yeah, how are you going to fund a local economy if no one has anywhere to live? I mean, you know my opinions on this. My opinion is, for decades, the feds have kicked the can down to the provinces have kicked the can down to the municipalities. Municipalities are forced to either raise taxes or kick the can down to condo corps or stratas, and eventually the shit piles up, and it piles up at the cost of the person looking to buy the house.
Because at the end, it's the buyer pays.
The
buyer
who
pays
else?
for everything.
Yeah.
Okay, pays for the too expensive land. He pays for everything.
Yeah,
they pay for everything.
But provinces and the federal government, I think, need to step up in a very meaningful way, the way they used to, I think, in order to help a little bit more.
But hold on. Here's also what we know today. Nobody's paying attention to it. The only thing everybody pays attention to day in, day out, Trump, tariffs, Trump, tariffs, Trump, tariffs. So all that important stuff to do with the rest of the economy has just been blurred out from the noise.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Now, this is something that another interesting thing came up this week. Last week. And it's gaining, I'm hearing it from more and more and more sources, that the bank regulator in Canada, which is called OSCE, the Office of the Superintendent of Financial Institutions.
Yeah.
The boss there, who is the actual superintendent, I mean, this is old-fashioned wording. Fuck me.
I love it.
We probably got a lot of people in their 20s saying, "What the fuck is a superintendent? That's crazy."
At least it doesn't say bureau.
Yeah. So this guy, his name's Peter Rutledge.
Yes.
Bit of a dick, really. But anyway, Peter Rutledge. We have basically the stress test, which worked.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, wasn't actually his idea. He's been pretending it's his idea.
Whose idea was it?
It was actually the previous bank regulator's idea. But that guy left as soon as it was coming in. So Peter just said, "It's my idea." Okay.
Of course.
So the stress test obviously helped a lot.
It saved people.
It
saved a lot of
2021, 2022, saved people, 100%. But today, everybody says, well, the stress test is fucking stupid, okay? Like, because these rates are like kind of historic rates. They're the rates we had in the 2008, we had rates like these. So why is this, So they're bringing in something new called LTI, which I won't do on this show, but it basically looks at portfolio lending on mortgages of banks at they want to make sure that all lending stays in about 4.5 times income. For the whole portfolio of the bank. So the idea is, and again, not an original idea, not an idea Peter Rutledge had. This is an idea that comes from Britain.
Well,
okay?
this is didn't this come into effect like last year, a couple of years? Yeah,
it's almost 2 quarters in now.
Yeah.
So and we haven't actually felt a ton of effect. You and I and everybody else about their mortgages felt the effect of sort of the tightening of credit, the tightening of mortgage approvals.
Yep.
You got too much debt. You've got too many rentals. You got too many this, too many
If your
that.
feet smell funny, they'll know about it.
Yeah. So it used to be like mortgage lending it's gotten tighter and tighter, particularly in the last year and a half, and it'll get tighter still.
Yep.
But the idea from Britain was they abandoned the stress test, which basically says, okay, if I got a rate of, for instance, 3.79. For a 5-year fixed, we add 2% to it. That's 5.79, and that's what we use, this kind of pretend number to calculate all your debt servicing and whether you can get a mortgage and how big a mortgage it can
be. And as
be.
bad as our shit is right now, it would have been way worse without that.
Yeah, but we're still there.
Oh yeah,
we're still pretending that somebody's paying 2% more, and when rates get down into the 3s, that's like 60% more. Okay. And in some cases, if you even add a tiny HELOC, tiny home equity line of credit to it, then all of a sudden we're qualifying the whole thing at 7.45.
If you're getting a 2-in-1 product, folks, where you have a mortgage plus a line of credit, and the line of credit is at a higher interest rate, people don't realize why don't I qualify? I make great money. I've never missed on a great client. We have to qualify 2% above whatever the line of credit is. So
on the whole thing.
Mortgage.
Even if the line of credit's only $1,000. Okay.
So if you're getting a 4% mortgage, and prior to the most recent cut, the line of credit was at 5.6 7 or whatever, prime plus a half, the bank prime plus a half, we had to qualify the whole mortgage at 7.7%.
So that obviously incapacitated some deals. But what is happening today is, and there'll still be some kind of stress test on HELOCs, but what is considered today is once the bank regulators said, well, we're going to study this now. Mm-hmm. By the way, in Britain, they did it a fucking year ago. Like more than a year ago.
We don't do a lot of original things in Canada.
No, fuck all, nothing.
Most policy decisions in Canada are just recycled.
But Peter Rutledge will tell you he decided this himself, okay?
Of course.
Fucker. Anyway.
I want to know what he did off camera.
Anyway, the reality is that will change things. Okay. I mean, because they'll have to do it. You can't do two at once. Mm-hmm. You can't have massive portfolio restrictions and individual restrictions.
Correct.
It's fucking nuts, okay? Yeah. So, folks, we will see the end of the stress. Not all kinds, because you still have to stress test variable.
Yeah.
But we'll probably see on a fixed rate mortgage, we'll see the end of the stress test.
And we're already seeing it gone for a lot of transfers. A lot of
transfers, it's gone.
A lot of transfers, it's gone.
Yeah. So, but it'll be gone for purchases too soon, and that will give a bit better chance for people.
And be kind to your mortgage brokers, folks, because what you don't realize is just because the government all of a sudden decides that something is allowed doesn't mean the banks have updated their policies. Doesn't mean the lenders are ready to.
They could take a month.
They could take so long. So calling us and saying, well, the government lets us do this now. It's like, yeah, but the banks haven't gotten their shit together. Give us some time,
every
please.
Bank has done so.
Yeah.
So that actually does bring us to our favorite part of the program.
What the actual fuck?
Yeah, and I've got a damn serious one coming up. So we have a new prime minister who has no seat in Parliament, Mark Carney. Mm-hmm. And by the way, there's no more carbon tax. Carney has agreed to eliminate the consumer carbon tax.
Yeah.
There will be no increase on April 1st. So he's no longer carbon tax Carney.
What is he now?
He's now carbon copy Carney. Okay.
It's ridiculous.
Because he's just a carbon copy of Trudeau with a better suit. And you notice he never doesn't have a suit jacket on.
Good for him.
Remember how Trudeau was always shirt sleeves, ties undone, rolls up his sleeves on his dress shirt.
I'm a cool guy.
I'm ready to work. I'm here to work. And look at me. I got my sleeves rolled up. But everybody got tired
Carney's
of that.
a banker.
People were so fucking tired of that by the end. I mean, It was ridiculous. But anyway, Carney, he looks like a banker. He is a banker, but he has all the same beliefs as, by the way, they even brought back two guys that Trudeau fired to work for Carney in his office. I mean, they got Marco Mendicino, they brought Dave Lametti, brought him back. Like, sweet Jesus, that's crazy. Anyway, Trudeau couldn't handle them. Yeah, these guys are fuck ups. I'm getting rid of them. Carney says, I like you. Come back.
Well, it's going to be interesting. I want to see if he's going to beat Liz Truss for shortest prime minister.
That's going to be something. Days. By the way, he is starting prime minister today. So we're going to be doing something next week. We're going to, there will be an election. He'll call an election. But we're going to time between now and the election call, we're going to do the same thing that they did in Britain. We're going to get a head of lettuce. No, seriously. People always criticize the toilet seats. It sinks all the... No, they're not. They're decor. God damn it, they're decor. Okay, but we're gonna put a box, like a plexiglass thing, and we're gonna put a lettuce inside that. And between now and calling the election, we're gonna watch the lettuce. But here's my
longer.
Here's my plea for what the actual fuck. What the actual fuck? If we have a prime minister who has no seat in Parliament, but Ron, our system allows it. Yeah, that's fine. I understand that. But it's still fucked up, okay? We need an election. This is what the actual fuck is wrong with everybody that we don't already have an election call. I mean, he's the prime minister now. Call the election, okay? Don't just run a 2-week fucking photo op so you're stuck with calling it, okay? Mm-hmm. Not just, put on a hard hat. He looks like Michael Dukakis with that fucking, in that tank. That is one guy who should not put a hard hat on. At least Ford has his own hard hat made for him so it fits over his pumpkin head.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stephen Harper's hair looked like a hard hat.
Yeah. So but no, Carney looks like that's the first time he's had a hard hat on in his fucking life when he went to Hamilton the other day.
Probably.
So, and he's always taking, he said, I'm talking to this guy, and now he's going to go to Europe. He's going to be the prime minister who doesn't have a seat in Parliament, going to Europe to whatever the fuck he's going to do in Europe
during a trade war.
Because by the way, the advantage of him going to Europe is he actually used to sit in the in the royal box at Wimbledon because
Yes.
he's that. Yeah, Carney is one of the elites, folks. But anyway, it's fine. So my what the fuck? Give us an election.
Let's do
God
it.
damn it.
Let's
We got
get
an
it.
election now. Let's announce it now. Let's go. Let's have a fucking election right away. Hurry the fuck up. Everybody in Canada wants an election. The Liberals, they think Carney's resurrected the Liberals because Trudeau, what a fuck up. But now Carney looks like he's bringing the Liberals back. Could be close.
Could be close. We'll see.
And so Liberals still want an election, right? Because they're close now. They
Everyone.
were dead before. They were
Everyone
close
wants an
now.
election.
Conservatives want an election.
Maybe not the NDP.
May not work out. Jugmeat might want an election for
Yeah.
sure.
I don't even
but-
know if the NDP want him.
There's that. So, and the BoC doesn't care. They'll take an election. They're fine.
Yeah.
So everybody wants an election. Let's have an election. All right. See you next week, folks.
If you like the pod, well, don't just sit there. Go to YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and all the other ones and like the pod. And don't forget to subscribe so we can keep being angry at mortgages and swearing about mortgages. Angry Mortgage could use your support.